Once you're always offended, you just get offended about anything, there's no telling how messed up you can get. Motherfucker, there's no telling how messed up you already are. People love to get offended because it makes them feel important. It inflates your ego. It makes your voice feel like it matters. You attract other people that want to get offended with you. And then all of you can circle jerk and engage in self-indulgence behavior. That's all it is. Because you're not looking for it to lead to anything useful. There are millions of kids all over the world that are subjugated to human trafficking and sex slavery. Right now, as you're watching this, there are kids being tortured in the most unimaginable ways. Yet most of us don't do a fucking thing about it because you don't give a fuck. You're too busy being offended by what some actor said on a show. Who gives a fuck? When I put up an episode about Ty Ritter, my friend Sincere Hogan and I have had Ty Ritter from Project Child Save on our show, the Live Life Aggressively show, many times. We're giving him a platform. Why? Because both of us were offended that all of this stuff happens, but we actually did something with it. We didn't just have a discussion where we talk about how offended we are. We gave action steps. We made donations, financial donations, and then we had him come on the show, give him a platform. He's been on the show 4 or 5 times talking about all the great work they do. They rescue kids by any means necessary, putting their lives on the line. 100% of donations to Project Child Save go to the missions. No one pockets anything. They all have their day jobs, and a lot of times they have to put their own money into it because they're not getting enough donations. You know why? Because most people don't give a fuck. You're too busy being offended about stuff that doesn't matter, and you don't even care about it. You just care about the attention that you get by being offended, and that's some bitch-ass behavior. You should slap yourself in the face and say, I'm a fucking bitch when you behave like that. Fuck you. Fuck you're offensive. Fuck you being offended. I don't give a fuck what you're offended about. You gotta do something with that shit if it's actually meaningful. I'm offended that millions of animals are killed in factory farming every year, so I don't eat meat. And then I talk about how to be healthy not eating meat, right? Those are action steps. Me just complaining about it doesn't help any animals. Me just complaining about kids suffering and human trafficking doesn't help those kids. I could rant all day long about it, but it's not gonna help any kids. At the same time, I could put up a post about what Project Child Save does. I could give Ty a platform. I can make a donation. Now you're taking that anger and you're putting it into something useful. But the bottom line is a lot of people that get offended so easily, they're not looking for anything useful. They just want to have the power. Maybe I can destroy this guy or this lady's career. She put out a tweet 5 years ago that said this. Let's ruin her for the rest of her life. So now we have this bitch-ass cancel culture where no one can say anything because you think your whole career could go down the toilet. And yeah, that's gonna really help with good communication between people. I mean, if you're only friends with people that have the same ideologies as you, what are you learning? You're not learning anything. We all have to be exposed to people that have completely antithetical ideas on everything so that we can actually have an exchange, see where people are coming from, maybe try to find some common ground. Because we all have a lot more common ground than we'd like to give ourselves credit for. I mean, I'm friends with people from all kinds of political backgrounds, and I don't have a strong affinity to any political organization. I think they're all full of shit, but I have certain things I align with on certain topics. But I get along with people from a wide variety, and it's not because I'm trying to be likable. It's not because I'm censoring myself around certain people. It's not because I'm being agreeable with different people. It's because I'm willing to hear what they have to say. I'm willing to state what I believe, and then we can leave with some mutual respect. We don't have to get all offended every time someone says something that we don't agree with. Where does that lead anyone? Just being offended, what good is that doing if you're just offended? Tell me, what good does that do? If you're just offended, I'm offended by this, I'm offended by that. Okay, great. Has your offense to whatever you're offended about, has that led to any positive outcome? The answer 99.9% of the time is no, because most of these people don't want it to lead to any positive outcome. They just want to be offended. That's the payoff. I'm offended. I'm going to convey my offense. I'm going to get a lot of attention for doing so and attract other like-minded people. And then we can all get together and talk about how great we are for being offended. Come on, we can all do better than that. So when you're offended by something, great, do something about it. Actionable steps. Every single person watching this could have donated $2 to Project Child Save the last time I put up a post. I put up a text message from Ty talking about how they rescued 15 kids overseas. And maybe 2 people commented and said, hey, I made a donation. And that's great. Thank you to those people. They actually stepped up. Now, here's a funny story. Maybe about a year and a half ago, I put up a facetious post, okay? Facetious being the operative word, meaning I'm joking around. And it was about how couples should never fart in front of each other, right? Because it ruins the relationship. You gotta have love, you gotta have respect, you have to have desire, and these are all things that are necessary in a relationship. You have to have appreciation. So I've got this acronym LARD. It's love, appreciation, respect, desire, right? Those are the 4 things you should have. I'm not a relationship expert, but these things just make sense to me. Now, if you're farting in front of each other, you don't have respect for each other, and you're definitely not going to have desire for each other. So that relationship you're basically just a roommate with whoever you're ripping in front of. Now, anyway, this was a facetious post. That was funny. I got more comments on that post than anything I've ever put up. And it was people that were genuinely offended. And I'm offended that these bitch-ass motherfuckers were following me in the first place. That's the only thing that offended me about their comments. I was like, man, I can't believe these bitch-ass, candy-ass twats are following me. What do you think Mahler's aggressive strength is about? It's going to be some display of diplomacy, or I'm not going to push the envelope on things? No, I'm going to come at shit hard, whether it's being funny or whether it's being serious. But more people responded to that than every post I've ever put up about Ty Ritter, Project Child Safe, Hope for Justice, all of these great organizations that save kids from human trafficking, that help rehabilitate kids that have been subjugated to human trafficking. No one really cares about that because it's not fashionable to be offended about stuff like that. It's fashionable to be offended over something that is silly and doesn't matter at all. So let's get offended about stuff that actually matters, and more importantly, let's do something with that offense.